Now let's get going because it's late and I don't want to keep you guys too long. I'll just mention the main levels that we're moving between, the main levels that I see us moving between this week, and I'm going to start with Bitcoin on the daily. Now Bitcoin's gonna help us. I'll say it like this: Bitcoin's move. If Bitcoin's breaks the 20K and holds it, so it broke it today, but it didn't hold it, and it didn't hold it because it was because the 382 was there, but also I think it was the 20 on the 4 hour that was the main resistance. No, it was the 55 on the yeah, it was the 20 on the 12 hour that was the main resistance, or the 55 on the 4 hour, and it's still meeting that with resistance. So Bitcoin holding 20K would be generally a bullish thing for the market. However, and there are some bullish fundamental news, especially with the EU bringing in regulations for crypto by the end of 2023, which is next year. Again, it's a huge step forward for crypto being acknowledged and how can I say, finding its place in the financial market. This is very positive news. However, not all. We don't have all the time TA reflecting bullish fundamentals. So what I'm saying is, a rejection is still a rejection in TA, even if there is fundamentals showing the positive. If I see a rejection in the chart, I will trade that rejection. I won't trade the news. Again, that news might take some more time to be absorbed into the market. I'll trade what's in front of me rather than what can be. So at the moment there is rejection at 20,100. I took my profit from the long that I had, and I started shorting, and the reason being would be on the 15-minute we have a brilliant triple top formation here, and with bearish divergence here. I believe we're gonna start coming down. Now, how far down is might not be too down. Like my initial target would be 19,000. I think we might be testing the 19,000 again before moving upwards. It wasn't a good thing that we didn't break the 20, that is 382 level. It wasn't a good thing that we didn't hold the 20,100, and it wasn't a good thing that we didn't reach this line of the channel that it's been moving in, because the only way to break upwards is to break through this line, not actually wanting to reach it, getting rejected there. Shows momentum is declining. It was a bit like the way, for instance, here when we had a third confirmation. So this white line here that made the wedge, it was confirmed it was said once, twice, and then the third time it was confirmed, but it set the wedge and it didn't reach the bottom. So not reaching the bottom was great for a reversal. That's why I felt confident about the reversal this morning, because over the weekend we didn't do a lower low, but now not reaching the top, it has the same value again. We might get super pump energy in Asia. Maybe that can happen. In my short, I'm looking to take profit around the 19,000, and then again, which is the bottom of the white line, and then I'll reevaluate there what's going to happen. So I believe in the short term, today, tomorrow, we might see a retest of the 19,000. or even the 18,500 if it wants to test the bottom of the yellow channel. Now, if pump energy comes in, there might be a retest of the 20,300, 20,400. If this line breaks and is held as support, then that's great news for the lift. That's why I said it wasn't great news that we didn't hold the 20,100, because that would have been a nice support level to break through the top line. We didn't do that. There was actually no intention to do that. On the 1 hour, there's a bearish divergence, and I think, let me just check the 4 hour. The 4 hour is in the overbought on the stochastic, but not on the regular RSI. So that means we can still have a lift. Now, going back to the levels that I'd like to see this week, and where I think we're going. So I'm going back to this daily channel, because this is a super structure that it needs to get back into. Okay, so this would be the daily levels. And I keep looking at this, wondering if, again, the big question for this week, and I'd say a couple more weeks to come, is the bottom in. So have we had a third level drop? Because I'm looking at this and I see this would be the M formation. So this would be level 1. This would be level 1. Then if I take, and I'm calculating targets on the daily. So if I take this and I put it down here, and again, conservatively, I'm putting it down here. I'll put it up there so that I take into account this range as well, 35 and 30. Okay. So let's say this was a level 2. To me, this drop needs another level, and the next level of support and resistance would be around 12 or 13,000. So that would be the next level of support and resistance. I'm not sure we are done with this level. Still, I keep that I take that into account, and I keep that in my mind, because when I'm looking at the previous drops, I was talking about Ethereum this morning and about how it behaved in the previous sideways formation, the previous channel, and Bitcoin has a similar pattern. So what I'm looking to see is a pattern like this, with 1, 2, 3 peaks, and then 1, 2, 3 drops. We've only had I will take these 2 as 1 peak and 1 drop. I think we might get another peak here. So this line of the channel that it fell out of, this line of the channel might be tested, and we might actually get a higher high. So it's really important for a lot of liquidity in the market to be released to have this higher high, just as it is to have a lower low. So this lower low here frees up a lot of the liquidations or stop losses that might be going up, and this higher high here frees up a lot of the liquidations and the stop losses of the shorters coming down. So that's why, for instance, when we look at patterns like the Wyckoff accumulation or distribution, we need to see those higher highs or those higher lows in the opposite direction of where we anticipate it will go. So if I anticipate this to come down another level, I expect to see a higher high. Now, when is that higher high going to happen? That's the big question, and that's why I'm following smaller structures on the 15-minute, because there's a lot of sideways here that I believe we haven't had yet. So I believe right now we've had this drop here. We're gonna get a little here, which I think we've had. Then we're gonna come down and retest this level, which I think we will do at around 19,000. So I think we're gonna come down and retest 19,000. I think we're gonna move between 20,800 and 19,000, which is actually a nice range to trade. It's about 9%. So again, even if we leave 50% on the table on our trades, we can still make 40% in these trades. So I believe we're going to see a couple more days, maybe this week, of sideways between the 20,800 and 19,000. Then we're going to see 19,000 being broken. So initially we need to see 19,000 being broken, and then we're going to see a higher high. So first we need to see a spike to the down. And again, I'm saying that based on patterns that I've seen before. Each pattern is unique, each move is unique, but I believe we need to see a lower low before a spike up. We need to see a lower low before a spike up. Not a lower necessarily than the initial move, so not a lower one than the initial move, but a lower one than the previous one. So for instance, number 3 should be longer than number 2. At the moment we're at number 2, I think we need to see a lower low and then a lift up. And that lift up will be around, I believe, the 20 on the daily. And while we have these days of sideways, the 55 EMA will come down as well. So I'm not excluding a move across levels in this chart, in this descending channel. Sorry, I want to say channel, in this channel. So a testing of the 21,200, this line, and the 20 EMA, and holding it would imply moving up to the next level. But I believe the next level will be after a lower low, so after the 19,000 is tested. Not necessarily a lower low than the 17.5, but a lower low than the 19, which means about 18,000, which is the 18,500 of our sideways channel. So first there will be a retest of the white line, which is the wedge, and then there might be a retest of the yellow line. Again, as traders, we need a plan of attack. Every time we look at the charts, I check the possible moves. I can only anticipate the ranges, and I can anticipate the patterns based on previous movements. And of course, when I trade, I have to stay adaptable. So in my short, if I see it, for instance, breaking the 55 EMA, I'll probably, take my loss, or I'll take my loss even earlier if it breaks the 20 on the daily. It depends on, sometimes it depends on how strongly it breaks the 20 on the daily, because if I see it, now I know it can stay in the oversold for days on end on the 4-hour stochastics or so, but if it gets to the daily and it's already exhausted, instead of taking a loss, I decide to go with the market and I DCA in, and then when it hits the 55 and it gets rejected there, that's when I start making profit on the way down. But yeah, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Initially, again, just to make sure I've explained it correctly, I believe that we will be keeping sideways until we get to break a support and resistance line on the daily. And that support and resistance line could be the 21,000 for the daily, the 20 EMA, or it can be the bottom, in this case, the 19,000. I believe there is more sideways to come in this stage before we break downwards some more. At least for a while. Now, for instance, in this case, the first drop here, yeah, this would be it. I'm looking to see in terms of time. Yeah, this took ages. This took. Let's see if we can find some sort of correlation. 21st of January and broke down. Oh, that's 6 months of sideways here. May and June, that is 2 months. Well, that's definitely accelerated. So if from 6 months we went down to 2 months from here, 19th of June, that's 2 weeks. Well, I'd say at least I don't know what to say. I can't say anything because I don't know what to say. So I can't make just, you know, there's no correlation that I clearly see now. But what I see here is the same pattern playing out again. So there was a lift, there was a drop, there was a lift. This drop broke the previous drop. There was a lift, a higher lift that broke the high, and then it started coming down. So I need to see either a lower low or a higher high, and then depending on, again, on where the RSIs are, we'll probably be able to anticipate another level down. And with that level down, I would say the drop would be complete, because we've got the first level and then we'll have the second level. So first level, second level, third level. So that's where we are. Again, you know the drill. We'll be live every morning and every afternoon, so we'll be able to clearly have it mapped out on the daily. There will be more volume coming in tomorrow. There was plenty of volatility today. Now I'm looking at the DXY. I was looking at it today, and the DXY on the day. The DXY on the day is in a huge. The DXY on the day is in a huge bearish divergence here between these two tops. However, the stochastic on the day is coming up, so I'm getting conflicting information here. Again, the way I will be looking at the DXY tomorrow. How long is it till it closes? 2 hours. Okay. So the way I'll be looking at the DXY tomorrow is which of these is being broken, because we can look at it as a triple top formation, or we can look at it as again, I'm not familiar with the patterns of the DXY. So as you can see, it's got like the waves on the day take a lot longer to complete. It's how can I say, more level, higher, more volatile. But the point I'm trying to make is if it's making a higher high on the daily, that means it's gonna keep going up. And probably this regular RSI will correct. There's an inverse correlation between the DXY and Bitcoin. So if the DXY is going up, Bitcoin is coming down, and the other way around. So if I see the DXY breaking this divergence line on the daily, that's bad news for my short, because probably Bitcoin is going to pump. I'm not using the DXY as any signal in any way, shape, or form. I'm just using it to monitor my trades, and at times when it feels like price action on the crypto is sideways, The DXY gives me a little bit more volatility on the spot. I'll just change to the 1 hour. The 4 hour is going up as well. That's why I changed. That's why I was a little bit concerned about my taking profit, because I saw the bigger time frames like the hour and the 4 hour on the DXY changing into bullish, and I don't like seeing that because it can continue pumping. The shorter time frames like the hour and the 15-minute are not looking great though. So there might still be a nice little lift in Bitcoin in the meantime before it retraces. But again, we are moving in the same space. We haven't made any particular range expansion today. I expected this wedge to take us to the top of the channel. It hasn't so far. I don't know what Asia is going to do. Still, the same levels stand. We break the top of the channel. We might continue upwards to test the 22 and then the 25 levels. We don't, and we come down and we break the midline. We're testing the 19,000 again and probably the 18.5 again. And it would be, if we actually were to see, if I'm to see this white line or the channel line being broken with a spike, with a wick, and then a lift up. I know that lift up and that spike was a stop loss hunt, and we're probably likely to reverse and go upwards. We'll see how things are as they happen. Now, in terms of trades, how are you doing? Lee, did you put your stop loss at entry point today?
No, sorry, close trader. When we talked about it this morning, I think what I said to you is that I want to see how it interacts with that 50 MA on the 4 hour, see what it does. And at that point, what I would do is I'd probably come out of the trade or move the stop. I just thought, I just didn't fancy it, so I just came out of the trade, a little profit, which is all right. And then wanted to see, like I said to you before, retest that 50 MA before I then went in on a new long. And I've been having a bit of a look at this afternoon and the word out there we are in terms of the Elliott waves and whatnot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this NABC. And I was just having a little bit of conversation with Exit before, where do you think we are on that 1 to 5? And it looks like it could potentially be an ABC. I want to say,
ABC going up.
Yeah. It looks. It could be a sideways 1 to 5 on the 1 hour. So I was looking at. So it looks like it's either in the third part of the wave, or if it comes down, then it looks like it's an ABC up.
Very good. Yeah, like to me it looked. Oh, geez, I don't keep in mind. Like I'm looking at. Yeah, I see. It's a position where it can go very easily both ways, Lee. Very easily. Yeah. I don't like the candle formation here on the 4 hour. I don't like these two candles here, these two swivel candles. I'm not a huge fan of how they got rejected at the 50 and how they're keeping under the 50. So that would be my, again, if it gets above the 50 on the 4 hour, it's looking great for a lift. If it gets it and it holds it, it's looking fantastic for a lift. If it gets above it and it holds it, which is the 20 on the 12 hour, then I'm looking at the 21.5, which would be totally in line with the channel that it's been in. So that would be a nice target for the long. In my short, for instance, I think, let me check. I haven't put in my DCAs yet. Yeah, I would be putting a DCA somewhere around there, because that would give me 40% gains on my entry point. Yeah, like that. That's good luck with that.
Yeah, like I said, I love to see what would happen where you're committed to that next move. So I'm on the sidelines, as they say.
Yeah, but like it looks, I was looking at a more local structure here, and if I'm looking at, for instance, in this part of the channel here, like this would be a level 1, this would be a level 2, this would be a level 3, and then you would have a W formation, and it would be testing the 22, and here that's the 28. Now that could also be possible. That could also be possible. I'd love to see some support on the 4-hour and then on the 12-hour. Very good. Now let me check the. Let me see if there is any sort of vector candle. We have a stop volume here on the 1-hour here, and that's where momentum sort of slowed down, but I'm not sure we have any big. No, we have a nice pump signal here. Nothing here. This would be a stop volume, and then maybe with this, but it's really tricky. It's really tricky with these vector candles in sideways. Anyways, good luck with that. I'll keep that in mind and check to see when I do my TA in the morning. See if there's any invalidation for the long that you know, might be worth mentioning. But at the moment, the only invalidation is breaking through the 19, the midline. If it comes, so in your long, the most local support and resistance is the midline at the moment, 19.3. Let me check on the MAs quickly to see if there are. No, that's not.
That's where I came out from home. I didn't want to put my stop loss down at that level and take that hit, so I decided to come out of it and take the profit at 20,100.
Yes.
And then see what happened next. So it seemed like a sensible sort of thought process, just to see if we get that top formation or double top, come back down, or whether we confirm on that 50. So that's where I am at the moment. Gonna work it out.
Like that's actually a perfectly valid move to make, Lee. Like if you're in a position and you are not comfortable with how it's going, there's absolutely nothing wrong with coming out, waiting for the structure to get stronger in terms of support, and then going back in. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I've left, for instance, I've left shorts. I've taken smaller profits, then waited to see if the trend line would break, and if the trend line broke, then I would go in basically into the same short. But again, when it's a bit like going into a fight, you know, when it stops being safe, or when you don't know which way it's going, you step out, and then you step back in when you have your arguments and when you have your reasons to go back in. Yeah, so again, you're right. I think you might be right, and you might get a nice long in, and it would be a nice 80% at 10x. It would from where it is now, but I think you're a little bit lower. But the invalidation is this. So we have confluence between the MAs on the 12-hour. The 10 MA and the 5 MA are at 19,300, which is the midline here. So it's spot on the midline of the channel, where the midline is. So when it breaks that midline, you know that it lost support on the 12-hour and it's heading down. If it keeps this midline, chances are it's gonna bounce off it and keep heading upwards. Don't worry about the stochastic on the 4-hour. The stochastic on the 4-hour can stay up and keep pumping. Like, look here, it was up high and it stayed up and it kept pumping without any issue. So yeah, keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it and make sure you have your. Yeah, I would make sure I have my liquidation for the long below this point, below the 17,500, which I'm pretty sure it is.
I'm happy to go short on it. I just need to my own, I suppose, trade management and getting used to the right signals. I just want to make sure that I'm making the right decision. And so I'm happy to short it. I think it's the right thing to do.
Yes, you're saying if your long gets invalidated, yeah, that would be a 20% loss.
Yeah, so which is the reason why I'm not in the long anymore. So I'm just looking to see what the next move might be. If the indicator suggests, shorts, probably the more likely, which it looks like it might be, given where the other indicators are. I'm happy to try and jump on that as long as I don't miss it, but I don't want to rush into it.
Yeah, don't rush into it. Like I took my profit. I had my target at 20,100, and then I watched it and I went in and I have a very high entry point here. So if it goes, I'm just like you. If it breaks this top line and holds it, I've no problem taking my losses here and following it upwards, because it's gonna give me a nice profit. So even if I, let's say, jump back in here, it's gonna go to about 22 again, 50%. This short that I'm in, I've set my target for 19,000, and I'm not gonna change it because because I'm stubborn, but because of where it is. I see it touching down this line in a wick. The way it hit that the 20,100 was literally a wick. If you weren't with the finger on the button, or had the target in, it would have been missed. But yeah, so this midline is essential. The midline and the top line are essential. Top line for continuing upwards, midline to going to 19,000, and if it breaks the white line of the wedge, down to 18.3. Very good. Okay. Now we are talking Ethereum next. Ethereum has been absolutely wonderful in giving us clues this weekend. I really enjoyed having a look at Ethereum and seeing what it's doing, because it did a beautiful mountaintop here, and it's done a beautiful triple top formation here as well. Just like Bitcoin, it didn't. Again, I expected Ethereum to reach the 1150 level of support and resistance, and it couldn't do it today. So once, twice, three times the market went close to that and it didn't reach it. And that's the level of support and resistance of the structure that it fell out of. And I am quite conservative here. It could be a little bit higher. But again, I'm saying 1150 on a general note. It shows, again, to my mind, it shows an exhaustion in momentum, not unless the best of the pump is being saved, but I think that might have been it. Again, I believe that the wave up has been completed. I think it started somewhere here. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we had 5. I think we had like a double top here, a blow off top in a double top situation. This would be mountain peak, and I think this here would be double top, first drop, mountain peak, and now we would be coming down for third drop. Now our levels for Ethereum, the way we have the 20,500, let's say, for Bitcoin, and 19,000 for Ethereum, it's the 1150 being broken and used as support. And then for breaking down, this line of support and resistance would be the local indicator at 1087. So one of these has to break. One of these has to break. There's let me have a look here. This is an exaggerated divergence here. The price is higher. No, I wouldn't say that. It looks a little bit like that, but not that much. Yes, so again, the 4-hour looks exhausted in the stochastic, but it's been sort of like floating around the top for a while now. We are in a sideways channel situation. I anticipate first, just like Bitcoin, because we're talking about the weekly review. So I'll tell you what my likely scenario is. And then, of course, we're going to watch the levels of validation and invalidation because they tell us which way we're going. We make our combat plan, but then we need to watch to see which way we're going. We need to see what's in front of us. So I anticipate, like Bitcoin, I anticipate a lower low somewhere around the maybe 950, 980, somewhere a little bit below the 990, but not necessarily breaking the 950. That's why I'm saying it's more like a stop loss fund. So I'm anticipating that, and then I'm anticipating a lift higher than the 1270. So I'm not sure the lift will happen this week. I think we might see a drop this week and then a lift. Now I'm going to change to the daily. Okay, so let me just see. So, do you know what? I would like to say, I know, but I don't know. Now, the stochastic on the daily is heading upwards, and it's sort of like signaling that we're going up this way. Yeah, I take that back, guys. I'm sorry, I take that back. Again, it's my intuition more so than my TA that tells me we're gonna come down first before we go up. I don't know if we are, I'll show you what I mean. I don't know if we are here or if we are here. Based on what's happening here, I would say we are here. And this might have been a little lift. And maybe what's, again, because my intuition is not a crazy intuition. It's based on what it's seen before. So I anticipate that something like this will happen, and then we're gonna see a lift. Now this lift wasn't higher than the previous one. In Bitcoin's case it was, and I believe in XRP's case it was. With Ethereum in this previous one it wasn't. Let me check to see if we had it here. Yes, we had it here. So here we had the initial drop, we had a second drop, we had the third drop lower than the second one, and then we had a higher high. So it was in this, not only, but it was in this sideways that we didn't get that higher high. So again, my intuition might be right. Again, whether we're here or here is the big question. Is this lift? Sorry, is this drop here, or is this drop here? I think we've yet to see that, and this week will tell us that. So for Ethereum, the levels that I'm looking at for this week, again, I'm looking at the MAs and I'm looking at a bigger daily channel that it's been moving into and out of when it has to. So I'm looking at the level of support and resistance at 1050. So this is what it needs to hold. And similarly to Bitcoin, I think it might actually move sideways for a couple of days. And again, maybe this week, we're Monday in, so a couple of days between 1150 here and 1050. Now, as you can see here, there's strong resistance between the 10 MA and the 20 MA on the daily, and between these two and the previous low, there's 10% of a level. So even though it looks like we're moving sideways on the dailies and we only have, railway track candles, a little bit like what happened here, we're still moving within a decent range to trade, and the 15-minute will give us some structures to be trading. At the moment, I believe the 15-minute has some conflicting RSI signals, but the formation to me has peaked out. So this is a triple top formation. I believe we might have, yes, we have some reversal vectors as well here. So I believe again for tonight, maybe for tomorrow, we might see a down move to test the 1050 level. And the 1050 level, sorry for a second, the 1050 level would be this next support and resistance. Now, on the daily, this level is the one that I'm looking at mainly as a peak formation, because we are I'm looking, it's very interesting, because as many arguments and reasons I find for the up, I find as many for the down. So I'm looking at this as a peak formation around the top, especially if we don't break through the 20 MA and we don't turn it into resistance. Or is this a rounded bottom? So is this a W formation going up, maybe testing the 50 on the daily as Bitcoin wants to at around 15,000? Or is this coming down to test the 800 level before heading up? Now, I would say the more frequent option, it would be doing a lower low before heading up and testing the 50 on the daily, and then again maybe being rejected there, coming back down for another drop. Just like Bitcoin, I believe there might be another level. I don't think we've covered all the possible levels here. I think we've just had 2 levels, 1, 2. The more we stay here and we don't gain support over these daily MAs, the more I think there might be another drop coming. But again, it won't. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to say it won't come this week, and you know we see a 20 or a 30% drop this week. This was a 40% drop. This was a 30% drop. So again, if I'm gonna take a 30% drop from the 1050, which would be again a little bit of spillage from this channel, about 700 for Ethereum. I know there's a level of support around this 650, yeah, 650, let's say 700 range. So to sum it up, I believe that both Ethereum and Bitcoin might be moving sideways within a good, nice range to trade this week, about 10%. Breaking the 20 on the daily would be great support for moving upwards, and if we're breaking the 20 on the daily, the 50 on the daily is the next target, and it will be a fantastic trading opportunity. If we don't break the 20 on the daily and we get exhausted trying to break it, then I believe we're going to see another lower low around 980 for Ethereum, and for Bitcoin it would be around 18,500. That would be it. Not necessarily a lower low from the previous one. We might see that, but I don't anticipate at this stage. I don't anticipate one at this stage. Maybe after we break up above the 50, we break above towards the 50 MA, then coming down from there with that momentum, we're gonna see a lower low from the previous one. That's it for me. I'll keep you posted every day, depending on the levels that we break through. We seem to be holding the range at the moment. Let's see what Asia will do when they start. Do you guys have any questions about Ethereum? Michael, are you in a trade in Ethereum at the moment?
Oh, I'm not, and I'm considering a short, or it would actually be a spot trade at this moment. The spot trade is still on my Ethereum, and I think he said I should watch out if it gets above the 20 on the daily. It was 20 on the 4-hour. 20 on the daily, it might be going up.
Yes. So the 20 on the daily.
On the daily.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm watching out for those. I'm watching the RSIs. I may not get the absolute perfect entry because it doesn't usually exist.
No.
But I'm only going to go in the trade if I can get a good entry where the price action is good, and the RSIs and the moving averages look good.
Yes.
And the pattern of the price looks good.
Yes.
If all of a sudden, for some reason, we get an indicator on the price action that's upward or something, then oh, I'm not going to do it. I may go on along if I get the right indicators or whatever, the right information. So, but I'm looking for a short at this point. I agree with you. I think it's more likely to go down first. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize how far it might go down and how big a percentage that is. Mm-hmm. So it actually sounds like a potentially a really good deal.
Yes. Yeah.
This is my restraint. A lot of times, once I really see something, even with everything else I've been doing, I'll tend to rush in, especially now that I'm DCAing in. I say, well, if I put the first one in and it's not so good, then I can always, I can always close the position, or I could DCA when it gets better, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm going to wait for my first entry.
Yes. Yeah.
That's it. I've got to take a new attitude. If I miss it, I miss it. There's going to be another opportunity tomorrow or next week or whatever.
That's the right attitude, Michael. That is the right attitude. Like there's no, like, we can't. How can I say? We need to keep watching for the how can I say, the highest probability trade. So yes, there might be trades where, and I've gone into trades where my indicator said go, and my strategy said go, and I went in, and then I had to, DCA 3 times because it went the other way. But there's, or you have to take your loss and go the other way because it shows you that you're in the wrong direction. But those situations are the fewer ones compared to how often you get it right. If you stick to a consistent strategy, you'll get it right most often than you get it wrong, which is the whole point of it. That's why you need the 3 yeses. Yeah. It's a good, Ethereum has some really nice levels to move between at the moment. So from where it is, so the first target for the short, the 1050, it would give a 50% if you're leveraging, and then it would be the next one. I would have maybe I take 75% at the 50, which would be a 35%, move the stop loss there, and then leave a little bit in for the next bid, which would be again an extra 20%. So yeah, Ethereum has some nice levels to DCA in and to DCA out. Yeah, that's what I did with my my Bitcoin long, because I went in quite early last week. I went in here, and then I had another DCA when it reached here, and it pulled me up, so that allowed me to come out with nice profit at I took 40% today. Yeah, 42% today from that long. Even though it hadn't, I had initially, when I went in here last week, I went in with 40% of my position, and I went in here thinking we're gonna bounce off this to the 21, the 22, and again I had 22 as a target, and that would have been great. And I said, okay, I'm going to DCA when it breaks this for confirmation, and it didn't. It came down to here, and again that's a good point to DCA. You are putting a lot more in, and you're putting a lot more of your capital at risk, especially if it breaks this channel downwards, and there are 30% chances for that to happen. But again, I'm putting only then do I have my full position amount in moments of risk, when I don't feel sure, especially around the midline. I don't feel as certain around the midline as I feel around the edges. So yeah, that would be it. That would be a good the strategy that I use, and that it's proven to be effective. I think at the moment, I don't know how much profit Roy has taken, or if he's taken, but I think I might be in the lead with a 5.2x. He beats me at chess, but at the moment I'm ahead of the X's. So that's it. Very good. Yeah, I would be looking. I'm in a short on both XRP and Bitcoin, and I won't be changing direction unless I see the top lines of those channels being broken. Do you guys have any other questions? Because I could keep talking all night about this, but I want to save some more for. I'll show you my XRP structure in case you have. I'm not posting that much in the XRP chats because I know Roy is posting loads there, and my again my TA is very minimalist compared to his.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
The first one is trading XRP and dealing with the spikes with the bigger margin.
Yeah.
Does that in some sense nullify the bigger movement? Winds up that you still have to put a lot at risk because of the spikiness.
Yeah, like for instance, this was the spike that I was telling you about. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. The thing is, for instance, from here, this is what happened at 1 o'clock, and then by next day this was done. Okay, yeah. So when trading XRP, you have to put money in the margin to make sure you survive if you go to bed such spikes. And this was a 17% spike, and 15, not 17. And it happened over the course of, no, just a second. Sorry, Michael. I'll 11%. Yes, I remember correctly. So this was an 11% spike that would have liquidated even 10xers. So generally 10xers are safe to go to bed. I feel safe to go to bed on my 10x trades in Bitcoin without adding to my margin, but not on my XRP, because if it goes up or down 11%, it would liquidate even 10xers. So, but the fact that it goes up so fast is how can I say, it doesn't nullify any gains, because you can, in the morning when you've seen this spike retrace half, you can pull out your margin, because again you're watching the trade, and then if you see it going up again, you can add to your margin and increase again your liquidation, or you can start DCAing. So what I would do here is, if for instance, I'll tell you what I did actually. I woke up in the morning and I saw this massive spike. I put an order in here just in case it went there, and it because I was in a short here. I was waiting for this to happen, and then this happened, and then I had to wait it all out. But I entered here thinking this is gonna go down here. So this was my 8% trade, 80% 10x. It went up here. It would have liquidated me if I hadn't been trading XRP, and if I usually I put 3 times the amount of money in the margin. These days I put twice the amount of money in the margin, because I don't want to lock too much capital in, considering we're in a very volatile part of the market. I'd rather keep more capital to be more adaptable and follow it. But anyways, I will still put in the morning, if when I survive this, I would put in a DCA at the previous peak, just in case it decides to go there. And it did decide to go there, not only once, 2 times, 3 times. When it had reached this triple top formation, I realized, oh, brilliant, it's going to come down. So this DCA here actually brought me up 50%. So instead of making 80% from there to there. I did have to wait it out, but it's worth it. I made 80% plus 50. I'll calculate it from there because I think I made about 120, 1.2x or something in that trade. So it doesn't. It just shows you the range, and you don't have to, like, you can keep your margin in and not do any DCAs, and you would still get your profit. You would still have to wait it all out here and get your profit. But I would say it's a pity to see these, like if I were to see this one try to come up high and not beat this peak, I would put a DCA in, because it's likely to top out, and why not if I'm watching it? Because I would be in the red here, so that DCA would get me in the green a lot faster. Like that, the DCA that I put in here brought my entry point up for that short. So that means here, rather than here, I started going back into the green. Do you get what I mean, Michael?
Okay, it sounds to me like the extra margin you have to put in to tie up some of your capital, but it's not nearly enough compared to the amount of movement that XRP is moving through a bigger range, comparing it with Bitcoin.
Yes.
That even though you have to put some extra margin in, it's not nullifying it. Plus all the other opportunities you're getting to DCA and everything else.
Yes.
It sounds like it's pretty good situation.
It is a beautiful coin to trade. Like if you, for instance, let's say you're trading $50 and you're used to separating it into 3 DCAs for Bitcoin. Let's say you have $15 to put in initially, $15 for 1 DCA, and $15 to add to your margin just in case. For XRP, I would take that $50 and separate it into 5, and I would start a position with 10, and from the beginning add 10 or 20 into my margin to make sure I cover a bigger range, because it does have the tendency to move in bigger ranges. But then, and that's only for the amount of time for instance, I'm going to bed and I don't know what Asia is going to do, if it's going to spike that range up or down. But other than that, I would put a DCA close to my liquidation. I've made great gains in XRP trades because I went, for instance, and again, I'm very adventurous when it comes to DCAs. I'm not so adventurous when it comes to entering a trade. I'm more cautious when entering a trade and when taking profit, but I'm more adventurous with DCAs because to me they're an organic way to follow the market. But for instance, I would have moments, including, for instance, this one. I'll show. I don't want to find it in the chart now, but I'll show you what I did once. I entered a short here. I knew that XRP was moving in a sideways channel. It reached my top line, and then the moment I put in my position, I put a DCA very close to my liquidation, which was somewhere around here because it was 10% rather than 11%. Let's say there. And it did bring up, it did exactly the same thing as here. It instead of, because I was watching it, I put a DCA in rather than more margin in. And that, while I watched it, it started coming down and did the peak formation, and I didn't have to put more margin in. But you can do that for XRP. For instance, have your DCAs set up, and I used to have them at 10%. 10% now would be about 3 points. So if I'm shorting here at 32, I would put one at 35. Yeah, this is 36. 35 is here. 35 here. Yeah, like you can my advice, the core piece of information, my advice is you need to make your position more flexible with XRP. So rather than separating it into fewer parts as you would for Bitcoin, because you don't have to DCA so often, or you don't have to be more flexible with your margin so often, you'd have to separate it in 5 parts. Or even, you know, I have mine generally in 7. Generally, not now. Now I'm doing fewer DCAs because I'm mindful of that 30 or 40% drop that might arrive, and I don't want to get caught 7 times in a 30 or 40% drop. Does that clarify it, Michael?
Yes, you know, the different, it doesn't mean that much to me yet, but it's worth it for me to think about and understand that. And, you know, actually, what you're talking about gives me a certain confidence now, because although my TA can get way better, that's not really where my problems lie so much as with strategy and implementing strategy and feeling comfortable, you know, like this is so different. And let's say, for example, betting money in a casino or betting on a horse race or something, because we get to choose when to take our money in and out.
Absolutely.
Just because we're in the red doesn't mean we're going to lose if we manage our money right. Sure, we might. We could be in the green and we could wind up losing the deal because of surprising things. But it sounds like one of the biggest differences between successful and unsuccessful traders is to not let their emotions sway them to the point that they make bad decisions when they're either on a positive roll or in the red or whatever, that they still have to be objective and do the best, do their analysis and make the best choice they can in the situation, because we get the choice when to close the deal.
Absolutely.
It's not like anybody else says, oh, the race is over or the final card is turned, you know, that's it.
Yes.
You know, I mean, occasionally something will happen where you don't get the choice. If you had money in the stock market and the stock totally went bust or something, but more than often it's our choice. And so the ability to be calm and to make the best of whatever's happening it sounds like it's the key.
Yes, I was reading an article, a very good one the other day, and it was talking about how a day trader skills are 60% psychology and 40% risk management. And I believe that trading is, as you're saying, it's very adaptable. Trading is, again, it's not gambling. And they're even in my close circle of friends and people that know what I do, I can't start a conversation and tell them about how adaptable trading is, because all they see is the stock market figures dropped 20%, it went up 20%, so they only see the end game of this. But it's only if you've been trading that you know that trading is actually more adaptable, and the adaptability of it, in my opinion, lies in how flexible your position is. And if you start your position from a position of strength, as in you get your yeses on the entry, again, you're not gambling and saying, oh, it can go up or it can go down. I'm just looking at this, it can go up, or I'm betting on it. No, you have indicators and signals that can give you those yeses. You have clues, you have indications. And then it depends on how sure, or how can I say, how sure and how flexible you want to stay in your position, because then you get your indications and then you can DCA step by step with your position following the market. So you commit more capital as your position strengthens. Or the opposite, you commit more capital when it goes and again, because you've stayed flexible and you didn't put it all in from the get-go, you commit more capital in the opposite direction and you follow the market to where it's going, and that improves your position as a trader. So we have the tools of first, margin management, and two, position management that allow us to follow the market, and because this is what the market makers do. They have enough capital to follow the market and of course to direct it wherever they need to free up liquidity, but they can wait it out, so they can pump their liquidity one way and wait it out the other side. So yes, you're right, it's not like committing money in a casino saying, oh, it's red or it's black and that's it. No, we actually have a lot more data and a lot more flexibility than that. And as you say, it's not letting emotions control you, because when you see it going the opposite way, when you see that red, is understanding that, okay, it's going the other way. Can I take my loss? Yes, I can. And if yes, you kept it flexible and you kept it small because it didn't look certain or it didn't look supported or sustainable to you, you can take that loss and follow it the other way. The opposite way. It's to me, it's absolutely brilliant. I think it depends on, how can I say, it requires a certain openness of thought to understand that it's not actually gambling, it's not betting money on a horse or in a casino. Far from it.
Question again. Yes, I didn't write this down. I'm going to write it down now. Did you say the 50 MA on the daily, if it goes above the 50 MA on the daily and support that, it's not going down first?
Yeah, I wouldn't see it. I wouldn't see it. So if we close, let's say today we close above the 20 on the daily on Ethereum, and tomorrow we keep above it. So again, I would need to see 2 candles on that interval completed, because you see, Michael, there have been tests of the daily, of the 20 on the daily, but they were rejected. So every time it crossed upwards, it kept going upwards. It met the top line of the Bollinger and it stayed up there for quite a while until the next point of support and resistance. So I would say the next point of support and resistance here would be, let me remove this horrible drawing, would be the top line of the Bollinger on the daily at 1250. So closing above the 20 on the daily would mean continuation of the upwards.
For a couple of days in a row, if it closes 2 dailies above it.
If two dailies close above the 20, I think we're continuing upwards.
So then that's just to talk about the strategy. So if it goes above, but it's not 1 day, it's not 2 days or something. If it goes above, or make it simpler. If it goes above 2 days it's probably not a good idea to think of moving my entry point with a DCA. It's more likely that I'd be thinking of closing the deal and accepting the loss.
Yeah, that's what I would do. For Ethereum, I was caught. I was caught in having to DCA a large amount once when I got caught. I think it was somewhere around here, March, yes, in this huge wave upwards until it actually started coming down. Yeah, I wouldn't like I wouldn't follow. If it holds the 20 on the daily, it's looking bullish. That's the rule. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at it and all the time it's followed it. So here it closed above it, continued to pump up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. And then it stayed above 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, pumped one more time, 12, 13. So you might be in it for 14 days until you get to no, sorry, 15, 16. 16 days until you get to the same entry point. So that's 16 days where your capital is trapped. You might get out. You might get out, but you would be locked in. Here it crossed, went back in. Again, tricky situation. Here it broke up and then it stayed up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days. So yeah, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it the way the situation is at the moment. I wouldn't do it because we are waiting for a big move. Like there has been a fair bit of compression on the daily in this range. It's almost like a wedge that's forming here. 1, 2, maybe 3 here at 1200, coming down again. So there has been some price compression here. There could be a nice lift up to the 50 on the daily if the 20 holds. So no, it's not worth it.
Time of your Bollinger Band there was the midline of your Bollinger Band was the 20, right?
Yes, the midline of the Bollinger Band. But the chart that I had there, I think was the 2020, like the 20 MA. It was my MA chart. Ah no, it's the midline of the Bollinger. Yeah, the 20. Yeah, let's see what's gonna happen. I anticipate, again, I'm looking at this very similar to this formation here. A test, a rejection, a test again, but this time the test here might actually be a higher high. But I can't say for sure, and it would be, you know, crystal ball reading now if I'm to say, oh, it's gonna go this way or that way. It can go either way. What I'm looking at is which level is breaking. And of course, in terms of trading, I'm trading the signals that I have in front of me. If I see a triple top, I will trade that triple top because that triple top shows a rejection more often than not. Bitcoin's getting rejected, keeps getting rejected here. Super. Any other questions? Now, this was longer than I had expected. I got carried away with the patterns on the daily, but that's good because I can make just a quick reference in the morning session.
I would normally trade triple tops and double tops. It's like.
Say again, Neil. Neil, you're breaking up, and I think it might be my internet connection. Can you repeat the question, please?
So this triple top with. Can you hear me now?
No, like I can hear you, but you're breaking up.
I can email. I think it might be Orange next email.
Yes. Let me check to see if I can change my connection. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So today on Ethereum, the short looks tempting. I normally trade like double top triple tops. The wick concerns me. The left 4% wick in Ethereum. So, have you seen anything like that in the past? I was scanning the charts where
you're talking about this wick here.
Top formation or triple top, but you got another 4% wick on top.
I don't know which wick. Are you talking about this wick, Neil?
The wick at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, that's it. But it's not like the whole candle. The whole candle was a massive pump. That's why I took my profits from Bitcoin and XRP, and then I shorted. That the whole candle was 4%. That was massive manipulation. Like it happened across the board. I don't remember. I think I again, if I look back, Ethereum had them last week. Yes, I remember. I think it was Thursday or Friday when this happened at nighttime. So there was a drop, and then this candle. So it went 6% up in 1 hour, and I think that's if I go on the 15-minute, it might have been even. Yes, and we had the wicks. Thank you for asking me about that. Yeah, there were wicks at the weekend as well. What's happening now is the market is easier to move. So it's a third of what it was, and the market cap for each coin is less. So for market makers to move the market up and down, it takes less money, less capital. So it's going to be more volatile. This is actually something that we can use as traders to our advantage if we keep targets tight, because the bear markets have increased volatility because market caps are lower, so it's easier to move them. So yes, I don't remember having I don't remember when I was trading Ethereum, seeing something like that. But when I saw it today on Bitcoin and XRP, and that huge retrace, I was like, I am trading this. This is a massive retrace. This is a massive blow off top. It wasn't the highest high for Ethereum here, but to me this is a triple top formation. And again, I would be watching the levels, but this is too a super opportunity to trade. And yes, thank you for asking that question. I believe we can expect these wicks a lot more frequently from now on. As I'm saying this, it's making a lift. Let's see what it's gonna do. And again, this would be the level. This would be the level to break. I expected it to reach the 1150. It didn't reach the 1150. Bitcoin didn't reach the 20,500. Maybe Asia will push it up there, which would be the proper mountaintop of this arc. Like arcs are starting, I'm in this sideways, the arcs are helping me loads because I can see, for instance, on the 3-step, I can see the 3 steps down in this swing. This 15-minute swing has this is the top, then the second level, then the third level here. Then we have the W formation, and I expected mountaintop to get even closer to the 1200, but it didn't even break the 1150. But yeah, I don't wanna waffle. I mean,
yeah, I'm not leaving overnight sessions at the moment. I just don't want to play that DCA game. So I just wait till EU brinks and then wait for the real move and then get out at New York and then get back in.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a nice clean intraday trade to make. Yeah, absolutely. And you're not worrying about you're not worrying about DCAs then. Yeah, like I'm mindful now that the range is very tight, so it would be good to maximize entry points with DCAs. But again, that's maybe it's my confidence speaking rather than if I were you, I'd be playing the trade that I can monitor constantly, which would be the London and then the US session.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've just had the how after the blue vector there's one more, most of the times there's one more lift up. I think that was the lift up from New York, and that would be again, I'm looking at it. No, Ethereum had a huge difference here. Yeah, that would be just London and New York doing a quadruple top situation here. Let's see, Neil. Let's see. Did I answer your question?
Yep, yeah.
So yes, keep in mind to put the target of highest probability. So even if you have to close the trade a little bit earlier, look back and put the target of the highest probability. I think today it was the 1120 for Ethereum. So even though it went up to 1134, I think 1120 here would have been the best option. Just to get to close the position at a profit. Super. Okay. That's it for me, guys. I'll let you enjoy your the rest of your evening from now on. Let me know on the chats if you have any questions. Again, great points to be made today. Keep in mind that we again, even across the board, only on one session, we can still keep the position flexible, and then we can expect more volatility because the market is easier to move now than it was. So we can use that volatility to our advantage. Best of luck.
Thanks, Billy. Great session.
You're very welcome.
Yes,
You're very welcome, Neil. Best of luck with the trades, and I'll see you tomorrow for the London session and then the New York session.